Welcome to Chicago, Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by AT&T. And this afternoon, two teams chasing the Cleveland Indians, who are leading the AL Central. It's the Minnesota Twins against the Chicago White Sox. And welcome, everyone, to the South Side. As the fans get set on a beautiful day in Chicago, I'm Dick Stockton, along with Mitch Williams. And the Twins have certainly owned the White Sox. They have won 9 straight against the Chicagoans and 30 of their last 37 games. And that is pure domination, Mitch. So how do you explain it?
Well, Dick, once you get to those kind of numbers, when you lose 9 straight to a certain team, it no longer is about the physical. It is about the mental, from the neck up. Your team is going to be as good as your pitcher is on that certain day, and there's no way any given pitcher is going to be that bad 9 straight days in a row.
Yesterday, the White Sox had a 5-1 lead after 1 inning and ended up losing it by a score of 8-5. All-Stars Michael Kadire, well-deserved, makes his first appearance. Carlos Quentin, for the second time, going to the All-Star game. And thanks to you, the fans, Paul Konerko will also be headed for the All-Star game Tuesday, exclusively on Fox. But coming right up, it'll be the Twins and the White Sox from Chicago. Degrees as we get underway, and here is today's starting lineup for the Twins, brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Ben Revere will lead off in center field. Alexi Casilla will be at second. Joe Mauer behind the plate for the second straight game, hitting third. Michael Kadire, the All-Star, batting cleanup. Jim Thome will be the DH. Danny Valencia is at third base. Luke Hughes, big 3-run homer last night, is at first. Tsuyoshi Nishioka will be the shortstop, and Jason Repko hitting ninth in left field. And facing the veteran Mark Burley, 6-5 on the year, making his 47th career start against the Twins.
And for Mark Burley, my scouting report on him, he's got to locate his fastball, command his best pitch, which is his changeup, and he has got to get the edges of the plate from the umpire to be successful.
The opening pitch brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And Ben Revere is stepping up for the Twins. Very impressive rookie, and he takes a call strike, and this game is underway. Revere is hitting .276 with 12 runs batted in, making his 40th start of the year. And working quickly as he does is Burley, and the count is 1-1.
And a very good breaking ball second pitch, and he got the edge on the inside part of the plate first pitch.
Bounding ball, and Konerko makes a good play, feeding Burley. Looked a little tougher than it was, and there's one away as we look at the defense out for the White Sox.
And when we look at what the White Sox are offering defensively, Juan Pierre in left field, Alex Rios in right, in center, Carlos Quentin in right, Paul Konerko at first, Gordon Beckham at second, Alexi Ramirez at short, Brett Morel at third, and Ramon Castro behind the plate.
And Alexi Casilla in the batter's box, and he takes a call strike. Casilla hitting .247 with 2 homers and 16 runs batted in. Burley does not waste much time. Gloved nicely by Morel at third, and quickly there are 2 down here in the first inning with Joe Mauer coming to the plate.
And this is exactly what we can expect all day long. Mark Burley is not a guy that takes a lot of time. He wants the hitters to put the ball in play. Chicago's got the best fielding percentage in baseball. He trusts his defense. He's going to let them work.
White Sox, Mitch, have only 43 errors, just 1 more than the Tampa Bay Rays. So here is Mauer, and he takes a strike. Mauer hitting .252 with 9 runs batted in.
And there's those edges that I'm speaking about. That's an outside corner pitch. If he's getting that pitch, it's going to be a quick game.
Comebacker, but off the glove of Burley, steadies himself and fires to first to throw out Mauer. Quick 1-2-3 inning. As 7 pitches thrown by Mark Burley, the Twins don't score, and the White Sox coming up in the first. Team to start hitting and perhaps win a game against these Twins. Here is today's starting lineup for the White Sox, brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Juan Pierre leading off, Alexi Ramirez hitting second, Paul Konerko batting third, and Adam Dunn the DH. Carlos Quentin in the 5th slot, Alex Rios batting 6th, Ramon Castro behind the plate, Gordon Beckham and Brent Morel batting 9th, facing Brian Dunsing, who has won 6 and lost 7 on the year, and making his 5th start against the White Sox, 4-0 against them lifetime.
And my scouting report on Dunsing, he is very similar to Burley, only he has a little more giddy up on his fastball. He's got to command his fastball, work ahead in the count, and when he is ahead in the count, he's got to be willing to go out of the zone with his breaking ball, meaning bounce it and trust these hitters are going to swing at it.
Here's Juan Pierre leading off against the southpaw Dunsing, and first pitch is in for a strike. 3 of the first 5 hitters facing the left-hander are left-handed hitters for the White Sox this afternoon.
And Dunsing's coming off a 9-inning shutout in his last start, feeling very confident.
Second career shutout on Monday, blanking the Rays 7-0 and tying a career high with 7 strikeouts. In there for a strike.
Juan Pierre is doing what a leadoff hitter should do, is try and see as many pitches as he can. But when they're putting fastballs in the middle of the plate, I'd have a tendency to want to whack him.
Well, that's been a big problem, Mitch, for the White Sox, is the fact that they start hacking at it early, and they really don't allow pitchers to get deep into the count.
And we just saw a case of my scouting report right there. He's got him 1-2, threw him a curveball, but it was a curveball for a strike. If he bounces that breaking ball, pretty good chances he'll swing at it.
Pops this one up to the left side. Danny Valencia in foul territory makes the catch. And the leadoff hitter Juan Pierre is retired for the first out for the White Sox. And that'll bring up Alexei Ramirez.
And as I look at that, I think Dunsing got away with 2 breaking balls in that situation. That the deeper in this order he gets, when he gets to the Quintons and the Canercos, he cannot leave that breaking ball in the middle like that, or they're going to hit it a long ways.
Ramirez hitting .272, has 8 homers, has knocked in 38 runs. They play him straight away in the infield and the outfield. He takes ball 1 outside. That's the way the Twins play, and the Twins come in 12th in the American League in fielding. Fouled straight back.
And I can see right now Dunsing does not have a feel for his breaking ball. He's trying to gain it. First 2 pitches right here to Ramirez were both breaking balls. Neither one of them were very good. So he's trying to get a feel for that pitch early.
And a drive hit deep to left field. Going back is Repko, looking up, and it's gone. A home run for Alexei Ramirez. And the White Sox jump in front 1-0 here in the first. That home run was smoke number 9 on the year for Ramirez.
And as you look right here, this is just a product of falling behind 2-0 and having to come in with a fastball up in the zone. And, oh, man, Repko came very close to catching that. I think his glove is still up on top of the fence. Yep, he left his glove up there. I'm surprised the fan didn't run off with it.
So a ball and a glove leaving the park, so to speak. White Sox leading 1-0. And here is Paul Konerko, who swings and misses the first pitch from Dunsing. So Konerko headed for the All-Star game, and Alexei Ramirez hitting the home run. White Sox are 7th in the league in the long ball. And the 0-1 pitch is outside. Konerko hitting .319, 22 homers, 65 runs batted in. 4th in the league in hitting, homers, and RBIs, and you wonder why he had to wait for the final fan vote to get into the All-Star game.
Yeah, that to me is a huge question mark. This guy to me is a perennial All-Star. And you see what Dunsing's doing here, and it's very intelligent. Konerko is a pull hitter. I'm going to live on the outer third of that plate. I don't care if I walk him, but I'm going to live out there because he's not going to hit a whole lot of home runs to right unless he's laid on a fastball in the middle.
And lately, Mitch, he's been really the only tough out in that White Sox lineup. Fouled off, and so Konerko stays alive. Well, they needed a campaign, and Konerko won the final vote in the American League. And for Konerko, who played last year after Justin Morneau, because of his concussion, could not play.
Man, they pulled out all the stops to get Paulie in there, and they really shouldn't have had to.
You're right. Grounded to the right side, Casilla, and there are 2 down.
We're going to take a look at this home run again by Alexei Ramirez. And you look here, Repko goes up, and he's just to the left or to the right of this ball. And look at his glove. You can't say he didn't go all out. The only thing that wasn't left up there was his spikes and his hat.
And his sleeves and maybe his uniform shirt as well. Adam Dunn, the hitter now. And talk about a struggling star that the White Sox had counted on. Takes a strike. Dunn, the DH, batting .164, 9 homers and 34 runs batted in. But in his last 16 games, just 5 for 57 and striking out 32 times in the process.
Well, people think that you can take an everyday player that's used to being on the field with a glove in his hand every day and make him into an instantaneous DH. They're naive. It takes a while to learn this position.
Ground ball to Casilla, and that'll do it for the White Sox, but a one-out home run by Alexei Ramirez, giving Chicago the lead. And after one, it's the White Sox 1, the Twins nothing. Presented by AT&T is sponsored by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And by DirecTV. Now, NFL Sunday Ticket is included at no extra charge. And welcome back to the south side of Chicago, where the White Sox lead the Twins 1-0, and Michael Kadire will lead off against Mark Burley. And if the Twins have owned the White Sox, Kadire has owned Burley, hitting .451 with 5 home runs career-wise against him. Took something off that first pitch, and it's fouled off for strike one.
Yeah, he starts him with a breaking ball right there, and no hitters want to hit a breaking ball first pitch. That's just a get-me-over curveball to get ahead in the count to where Burley can expand the zone on him.
Kadire, an all-star for the first time at age 32 in his 11th season. And he's got to be glowing about that.
Oh, he has to be. And this is another guy that I think has been overlooked because he's not flashy. He's just a tremendous baseball player.
Kadire hitting .298, 13 homers and 42 runs batted in, and he grounds this to the left side. Brent Morel across the diamond, and one away. 4 outs, all ground balls against Burley. Then there's 1 out, and Jim Thome, the ageless designated hitter, stepping to the plate, hitting .228, 6 homers and 19 runs batted in, and just 5 homers away from 600 in his great career.
And this is a left-handed hitter that you would not hesitate to start against Burley, because Burley's best pitch is a changeup, and as a left-hander, historically left-handed pitchers don't want to throw left-handed hitters changeups.
And a call strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to Thome, who hit 134 of his home runs in 4 years with the White Sox. Played 4 years here in Chicago. And he's been a career AL Central performer. That pitch misses inside.
Now that right there for me is the catcher overemphasizing the setup. That pitch is a strike, but because he missed the catcher, he called it a ball.
Burley working extremely fast, rubbing up a new baseball. The Twins, of course, have that litany of injuries. This is a team that started out 20 games under 500 at June the 1st as Thome goes down for the first strikeout for Burley, and out number 2 here in the second. And time now for today's 4 keys to the game.
You know, when we look at the keys to the game for the Twins, it's simple. If they have a lead, they have to make it stand up late. Their back end of their bullpen has got to be strong enough to make that lead stand up. And for the White Sox, Dunn and Rios have got to turn the corner and get going for this team to succeed.
2 hitters have not been productive as of late, and the first pitch to Danny Valencia with 2 down in the second is a called strike. Valencia has not hit that well, hitting .239, but he leads the Twins with 46 runs batted in.
And you look at all the injuries.
1 hopper to Morel, and the injuries we'll talk a lot more about as the Twins have battled back despite those injuries and have a chance in the second half of the year. Presented by AT&T is sponsored by Select 55. The superior taste makes it Select. The 55 calories makes it the lightest beer in the world. American League Central standings, and the Indians, despite faltering some, still have that lead by half a game over the Tigers. Chicago 5.5 back, and Minnesota at one point, June the 1st, they were 16.5 behind, Mitch.
Unbelievable the comeback they've made.
And they kind of like things as they get into the second half of the year. It's a ground ball beautifully handled by Valencia and throws out Carlos Quentin for out number 1. So Quentin, who's headed for the All-Star game, is robbed of a hit by Valencia at third.
As we look at this replay, this is what both these pitchers have got to have behind them. Outstanding defense. You see Danny Valencia get to the ball on a dive and get back to his feet and make a perfect throw. It's only a great play if you complete both ends of it. That's a great portion of the play. Now you got to finish it, and he does, and makes a good throw over to the first baseman.
That brings up Alex Rios with 1 away, and Dunsing's first pitch is ball 1. Rios, as Mitch mentioned, has been unproductive. .214 average, 6 homers and 21 runs batted in. Chop to the left side. Nishioka handles it. 2 ground balls to the left side of the infield, 2 out. We talked about the injuries for the Twins. They've had 13 players on the DL this season. They've used the DL actually 16 times, tied for most in the league. And how many games have they missed?
It adds up with all these injuries. The number of games these players have missed is 432 games. when you add up all these injuries and the games they've missed, that's a lot of ball games for some of their studs to be missing.
Ramon Castro taking a strike on the outside corner. And when we talked to Ron Gardenhire in the clubhouse before the game, he said, I always felt even when we were way down, if we could get within 10 games of the lead by the All-Star break, we would be okay, considering the players that we have coming back.
Absolutely. They've got some pop coming back. Kubel, hopefully Morneau gets back healthy. Right now, I'm looking at Dunsing. He's in an 0-2 count. He has got to go outside the zone against Quentin to try and get him out.
Castro taking. Coming in at 227.
Excuse me. Quentin just grounded out.
Four homers and 10 runs batted in. Didn't take long for Quentin leading off to get out of for the first out of this inning. 2 down. Just missing outside. That one's 72 miles per hour. And Brian Dunsing, a lot of self-deprecating humor. He says, if I strike anyone out, it'll be by pure accident. Driven to center field. Ben Revere going back. Gets turned around, and this one bounces from the running track over the fence for a ground rule double. So Ramon Castro with a sharp hit to center field, and a 2-out double for Castro in the second.
You know, you look at the wind blowing in the stadium today. This ball is either knuckling or something, but he got turned around 2 different times on that ball, so it was definitely doing some tricks in the air. You see him turn there. He's not within 10 feet of that ball. The wind is definitely moving the ball around a little bit.
And that was his hard hit, maybe more so than Ramirez's home run in the first inning. Brings up Gordon Beckham. And he gets the fastball and fouls it on the screen for a strike. Beckham hitting .241, has 7 homers and 24 runs batted in. Has not done much with the bat, but his glove has been outstanding for the White Sox. As you mentioned, Mitch, leading the league in fielding. And there you see the wind blowing out left to right.
They're a tremendous defensive team. This is where they've struggled. Hitting with runners in scoring position. In their last 13 home games, they're hitting a .173.
Wow.
And that's just not going to win a lot of games.
In fact, when they got 5 runs in the first inning in last night's game, that matched the total that they scored in 5 previous losses to the Twins this year.
Right. And I saw a stat earlier today that they have scored 10 runs or more one time in 85 games. That's almost hard to do.
Dunsing ahead 0-2 on Beckham. And now it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. 2-out double by Castro. White Sox leading 1-0 on Alexei Ramirez's home run in the first inning. There you see the Chicago White Sox. Talk about runners in scoring position. 2-0-3 with 2 outs. And that's the situation we have here.
And what they need to do, what Dunsing needs to do here, Beckham is going to be in protect mode, which is emergency hack mode. As you see right there, he went away from him. The hardest thing for a hitter to do when he's in emergency hack mode is get to a ball in. So he can take that protect swing on a ball away, but if you try and throw a 92 mile an hour fastball in on his hands, it's very hard for a hitter to protect against that.
Beckham trying to deliver Castro at second with 2 out.
He tried.
Brian Dunsing, 28 years old, from Omaha, Nebraska. Moved back and forth between starting and relieving until last July. There's Castro with the lead. White Sox were up 5-1 after one last night and lost the game. 8-5. And it's popped up to the right side. Luke Hughes in foul territory. And he's got it. And so the 2-out double is wasted by the White Sox. We have completed 2. And we'll return to Chicago after a word from your local Fox station. Presented by AT&T, and the White Sox leading the Twins 1-0 in the bottom third of the Minnesota batting order, facing Mark Burley, the 32-year-old veteran. And the first pitch to Luke Hughes is inside for a ball. Hughes, a big hero last night for the Twins with a 3-run homer in a 6th-run 4th inning. And that's how the Twins engineered their come-from-behind victory. They were down 5-1. Hughes, along with Rene Tassoni and Ben Revere, 3 rookies who have really come up and filled the bill for some of the veterans. Tough hop, and it gets past Brent Morel into left field. And Hughes becomes the first base runner of the game for the Twins.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to call that a hit or an error.
It's an error, I believe, charged to Brent Morel.
I'm a pitcher, so I'm calling it an error. The ball is hit hard, though, but that's a play that he should come up with.
So Tsuyoshi Nishioka with Hughes on it first.
He gets down on it well, which you're taught. It's better to get down and come up than stay up and go down.
Nishioka takes a strike. And the Japanese hitting star who suffered a broken fibula in the first week of the season and was out until mid-June. Meanwhile, Morel, who had not made an error in the last 35 games, and there's a bunt and a good one, and no one is at first base, and Nishioka is on at first. Everyone is safe. Hughes goes to second, and a bunt single by Nishioka, and the Twins now with runners at first and second and nobody out.
That's an odd play right there. With Burley not breaking towards first at all. I don't know whether he got hung up. We'll look at the replay here. Oh, he was actually guarding for the bunt down the third base line and got kind of hung up there. And there's not a whole lot you can do about that. That's just called a perfect bunt.
Jason Repko squares around, and that pitch taken down low for ball 1. So Repko, the number 9 hitter in the lineup for the Twins, batting .233 and 8 runs batted in. He has started all 3 outfield positions, and Repko in left field today. So the Twins, trailing 1-0, have a threat going here in the third against Mark Burley. And offering at the pitch, which is over for a strike, and the count 1-1 to Repko. And this is where Ron Gardenhire loves to play hit and run, stolen bases, and all kinds of plays with men on base. That's been his style.
Small ball. I mean, small ball has become fashionable again. With the way pitching is today, I've seen more squeeze bunts.
And there's a good one down to third. And the throw to first base in time. And so the sacrifice by Repko. And now the Twins have 2 runners in scoring position with 1 out.
And this is where Mark Burley is going to have to bear down. He's either going to have to get the leadoff hitter Revere to chase and get a punch out here, or get him to pop up. But I don't anticipate him putting too much in the middle of the plate in this at bat. So
the sacrifice, Morel to Beckham covering at first, and here is Ben Revere, who is 0 for 1, bounced out to the right side. So the tying run is at third. Go ahead run at first here in the third inning.
They're going to play the corners up.
1-0.
And that's kind of what I'm expecting here. That he's going to pitch him tough. He's not going to give him a lot in the middle of the plate. He's got a base open. He's a notorious ground ball pitcher. He'll take his chances if he walks him on a ground ball double play.
And fouls this off the screen in front of the Twins dugout. The count is 1-1 to Revere, who is just minding the store until Denard Span gets back into action, one of the Twins who are on the disabled list.
And you look here, he's got 1 punch out today. Burley does 6 ground outs. That means they hit the ball on the ground a lot when Mr. Burley's on the mound.
And there's strike 2. 88 miles per hour, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Burley trying to pitch out of a jam here in the third inning with the White Sox up 1-0.
And I would anticipate him going to a breaking ball here. He wants the punch out in this situation. He's got the hitter buried.
He jams him, and a slow hit ground ball will get the run in, and Konerko puts the tag on for the out. Run scores. Hughes crosses the plate And Nishioka advances to third. There are 2 out, and the Twins have tied the game.
We're going to look at pitch by pitch in this sequence. You see him start him away with a cutter. Then he goes in off the plate, throws a strike down, and he got that ball in. But in that situation, I got to believe I'm going to a breaking ball trying to strike him out.
Casilla, the batter, and he takes a strike. So there are 2 down. And for Revere, he gets the run batted in, his 13th of the year. Twins have tied it here in the third, and a chopper over Morel into left field. And scoring is Nishioka, and so Casilla with a 2-out single. And the Twins now have forged in front 2-1.
Morel in this situation, he's got to guard against a bunt because Casilla can run. So he can't be playing way in. He's playing on the edge of the grass. If you got a 4 or 5 hole hitter up, that's a routine ground out. But you got to guard against the fact that Casilla can bunt and run. 17
runs batted in for Casilla. So the Twins, who got the first 2 runners on, and one coming on the error by Brent Morel, have taken a 1-0 lead, and Joe Mauer takes the strike. So Mauer, Twins are delighted that he is back in the lineup. He played first base on Thursday. And of course, you're going to see him try to save himself from just being behind the plate. Tell me what it means for a hitter like Mauer to have a career only behind the plate at this point.
I honestly believe, Dick, that if they ever expect to get the offensive potential out of Joe Mauer that they should get, they're going to have to move him from behind the plate.
And you're not talking one hopper to shortstop and the throw to first in time.
You're not talking about a guy that's 5'10" and weighs 190 pounds. Joe Mauer's 6'5". He's a big man. It's a lot of work.
Both of the runs are unearned, but the Twins lead the White Sox 2-1. Here in the third, trailing the Twins now 2-1, and Brent Morel, the number 9 hitter, against Brian Dunsing, followed by the top of the order Juan Pierre and then Alexi Ramirez. And the first pitch is a call strike.
And Dunsing's not messing around. He's going out there. He's trying to get ahead. He's throwing fastballs. You can see Mauer wants the ball on the outer third of the plate. He's going to make these power hitters hit the ball out of the opposite field.
Pitch is outside. So Brent Morel with the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. Talk about the Twins getting off to the slow start. How about the White Sox? At one point were 11-22 in the first week of May, and they were 10.5 games behind the leading Cleveland Indians, and actually they were worse off than the Twins at one point.
Yeah, especially when you look at the ferociousness of the lineup they possess.
Center field, Ben Revere back, makes the catch. Morel is retired for the first out.
Okay, we're going to look at a replay of last inning on where Morel had to play Casilla with 2 outs. You see he's up on the grass. You got 2 outs here, but he's got to guard against the fact Casilla can bunt and run, and the ball hops over his glove for a base hit. Now, we're going to look here. This is Joe Mauer. Right there on the left of your screen, you see where Morel is playing him. That's the difference in speed.
Juan Pierre, 1-0 to him. Pierre fouled out to Valencia his first time up. So you talk about a game of inches. We saw it right there as the pitch to Pierre is up high.
And Juan Pierre's typically, he's a guy that's going to work the count. I will be shocked if he swings here. He's a guy that once he falls behind 2-0, he's not looking for a pitch hit out of the park. He's going to look for him to throw ball 3.
And a call strike, 90 miles per hour. It's 2-1 to Juan Pierre, who was a catalyst for the White Sox in their crosstown series against the Chicago Cubs recently. There's a shot to left field. Repko makes the catch, and Pierre is retired. So Repko playing Pierre perfectly in the outfield, and there are 2 down. In the first inning, Alexi Ramirez with 1 out hit a drive to left field that Repko left his glove up on the wall and nearly made the catch as it bounced into the stands and gave the White Sox a 1-0 lead. And the Twins have since taken over 2-1. Here is Ramirez. One and 0 to Ramirez.
He started him off last at bat with 2 breaking balls and fell behind 2-0, and then had to throw that fastball that got hit in the bleachers.
Big hop to Nishioka. And a 1-2-3 inning for Brian Dunsing. So we've completed 3 here in Chicago, with the Twins leading the White Sox 2-1. Against Mark Burley, leading 2-1. Both runs off of Burley unearned. Michael Kadire leading off. And the first pitch to Kadire is ball one. Bounce to third baseman Morrell his first time up. And a call, strike 1-1.
And that's the edges I'm talking about. Burley, he backdoored that breaking ball. It's a great pitch because you get a strike without a swing of a bat.
1-2 now to Kadire.
Now Burley can do anything he wants. He started him changeup, went back-to-back breaking balls. Now he can do whatever he wants.
Took something
again.
off that pitch, a changeup hit to center field, and Rios way back on the warning track catches up with it, and Kadire is retired for out number one. Talked to Don Cooper, the pitching coach of the White Sox, and asked him about John Danks, who's getting ready to come back into action.
Well, he had a good sideline yesterday, and he went through all of it. We got after it. The first sideline was basically take it out for a test run. Low intensity. We had a day off, and then he had a real get after it sideline, and it went very, very well. He's going to take a couple days off and then go pitch in our minor league system on Sunday. And then he'll have another day, 5 days later, to go out and pitch, and then we'll pencil him in after the break for us.
Don, this is Mitch Williams. Talk a little bit about Burley and how quick this guy works.
Well, I tell you what I like to say about Burley, and this is unbelievable because I've been together with him 10 years, and I've seen an awful lot of games. He's one of the guys that is a pleasure to coach. He's a low-maintenance guy, and he makes the pitching coach look good. So you got to like guys like that. But, what I like to say about him is I think he's got, like a 600 winning percentage. So there's a 6 out of 10 chance that we're going to win on his day, and you can guarantee that it's probably going to be 2 hours and 30 minutes max.
Thanks, Don. And a rocking chair pitching coach when you have Mark Burley on there, and Jim Thome called out on strikes. So Thome has gone down twice against Burley, once swinging and once looking.
Yeah, very good cutter right there, Dick, on the outer third of the plate. And listening to Coop talk about Burley, he's one of those guys as a player, you can make dinner reservations and pretty much assure yourself you're going to be there.
Actually have a few hors d'oeuvres even before dinner, perhaps. Danny Valencia, the hitter, fouls it at the plate for strike one. Valencia bounced to third his first time up. Amazing thing about the Minnesota Twins, who have won 23 out of 33, is that in that was a losing streak of 6 in a row, and you don't often see teams that are making a kind of a comeback like they are, Mitch, and to get a losing streak like that.
And that's the truth. I mean, you get red hot like they did, and then to go ice cold for 6 days. If they'd have split those 6 games and just gone 3-3, they're 4 games out.
And strike 3. Well, not only are we going to get an early dinner and maybe some hors d'oeuvres, but maybe a late afternoon snack as well. Paul Konerko will be coming up for the White Sox. Another 1-2-3 inning for Mark Burley. He's had 3 of them so far. Ron Gardenhire, who has stayed steady and calm and told his team, let's not play one series at a time, let's play one game at a time. And the Twins coming in 7 games behind, and Paul Konerko 0 for 1 leading off against Brian Dunsing here in the 4th inning. The Twins leading the White Sox 2-1. And Paul Konerko going to the All-Star game, where he's been, by the way, 4 of 7 at the plate. And a natural to be in Tuesday's game. You'll see it exclusively on Fox.
You know, he was a free agent in the offseason. And the speculation about him not coming back here to Chicago, there's certain guys that just will not look right in a different uniform. Derek Jeter, he'll never look right in anything but a Yankee uniform. And I feel the same way about Paul Konerko. He is a White Sox.
Here's a breaking pitch, and it's in for the strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Paul Konerko, and that's about right. Paulie, as they affectionately call him.
Paulie the Poland Pole. And this right here is where Dunsing has got to stay away. If he beats you, it's got to be to right field.
It was well inside, so the count 2-2.
He's got to be doing that to set up going away, because that's not the book on Konerko to get him out in. He's very quick inside.
By the way, at 381 is the leading hitter in the American League in the daytime. So he likes playing in the afternoon. Pops this one up. Luke Hughes near the stands.
I think he caught that ball.
And he did. It was a kind of a basket catch,
yes,
a la Willie Mays used to make in the outfield. Good play made by Hughes at first for out number 1.
It was unconventional, to say the least. You don't usually let it get right in there to your belly, but you look at it here, and he got jammed. He jammed himself, and that White Sox fan needs to make a better effort to knock that ball loose.
A rare occasion when a fielder jams himself or gets jammed. Here is Adam Dunn, the DH, and 0-1 or 1-0 the count to Dunn, who bounced out his first time out. So Adam Dunn, who had a tremendously consistent career in the National League, and great point you made in his first at bat that it is not a walk in the park to all of a sudden become a DH.
No, people that assume that it is, like I said, they're naive. It's a whole new position. You got too much time to think. You have an at bat, it's a bad at bat. You go back in the dugout in the tunnel, you go over in your mind, you start to think too much. And I know in my own case, if you gave me a chance to think about something, I could think long enough I'd mess it up.
And a drive hit to center field. Starting back and now coming in is Ben Revere, and he makes the catch for out number 2. Well, on Monday, White Sox fans cheering Adam Dunn after a single in the 4th inning, and showing a sense of humor, tipped his cap to them. And of course, in Chicago, where they have great fans and a great sense of humor for the sports people here, they had to appreciate that. And a 2-run homer in the 8th inning gave the White Sox a 4-3 lead. The fans responded with a standing ovation. So a bit of the personality of Adam Dunn there, who flies to center field. 2 down to Carlos Quentin.
Well, trust me, no one wants to succeed more than Adam Dunn does.
Yes, and the White Sox really counting on getting the power numbers for him. Here you see the all-time leaders in home runs. Look at the company there, huh? 0-1 the count to Carlos Quentin. Pat Burrell is another good example of that, who
tremendous
played in both leagues.
And I knew, and I'm very good friends with Pat, and I knew when he left Philadelphia he did not want to go to the American League in DH. He has to be involved in the game. He was so bad they ate the rest of his $8 million contract, released him. He went to San Francisco and hit 18 home runs and helped them get to a World Series and win it.
Up high to Quentin, and there is Dunn still working in the dugout. Adam Dunn, the DH, who is now 5 for 59 in his last 17 games. The count 1 ball and 2 strikes to Carlos Quentin with 2 out here in the 4th.
And that right there, what you're seeing, that's the problem. he doesn't have that period of time where he can put his glove on and go out there and think about defense and what I got to do. I got to make a play here. He has all that time to do exactly what you're seeing him do here. Sit there and be frustrated over what he's doing.
And often designated hitters go into the clubhouse.
Oh, yeah, I played with Larry Parrish, and I mean, when he struck out, you could count on a 25-pound dumbbell being thrown through a wall in the weight room.
So Quinton strikes out after being robbed of a hit in his first at-bat, a 1-2-3 innings. 7 in a row set down by Dunsing, 2-1 after 4. How quickly has Mark Burley been working? We're not even talking about pitches. Let's talk about minutes. And he has wasted very little time in disposing of the Twins. He struggled in 1 inning and 2 unearned runs started by an error. Luke Hughes reaching on an error by Brent Morrell, who had a hop that he could not handle, and that opened the gates for the Twins to get their 2 runs. So Hughes leading off. He and Nishioka on deck scored both runs as Revere and Casilla got them in.
You know, it's hideous. He's thrown 4 innings in a total of 15 minutes. I've thrown innings that have lasted 25, 30 minutes.
I don't think anyone really enjoyed that, by the way.
No, I wasn't a favorite of my teammates.
Hey, and it's great to see on the South Side after the Wild thing and the 2 years you had, including the '89 season when you helped the White Sox win a division title. And
the Cubbies, we can't.
The Cubbies. I'm sorry.
Cubs
Get into the All-Star game for you, right?
Yeah, it was. It was a tremendous year. I love this town. It's a great place to play. And you see guys like Konerko and Burley that are playing their entire careers here. It's because it's such a great place to play.
And call strike 3. So that's 3 consecutive strikeouts by Mark Burley. All call strikes. He got Tomey and Valencia to end the 4th and gets Hughes here in the 5th inning. Time now for a DirecTV game break. And Derek Jeter, red letter day, got his 3,000th hit on a home run in the 3rd inning, and he gets a single up the middle. And Jeter 5 for 5, tied a career high, 3rd time that he's had 5 hits in a game, and the Yankees defeated the Rays 5-4. So what a day for Derek Jeter. And the highlight of the baseball day and sports day for that matter. And 5 hits and the Yankees win. Here's Nishioka, fouls it off. And There they are, the all-time Yankee hit leaders.
And you look at that list right there, and you're number one on that list. That is huge.
And inside to Nishioka. Reminder to get every MLB game and the most in HD. Call 1-800-DIRECTV. You know, you almost bit my head off when I said White Sox instead of Cubs there, but Mitch. You know, I mean, a lot of years have gone by.
There's a Northsiders and Southsiders.
Yeah, well, we know that. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Nishioka, who laid down a perfect bunt single to the right side, and no one was covering first base. And that pitch getting away from it, a little rope skipping by Nishioka. 2 hits in the game for the Twins.
Burley started him 0-2, and he's worked the count. Nishioka has worked the count to 3-2. I'm betting changeup here.
And a comebacker. Burley throws out Nishioka, 2 down. And in case you missed it, this was the home run by Derek Jeter in the 3rd inning. Hit number 3,000 for Derek Jeter. I'm sure he's relieved it's over and will go down as one of the greats for the Yankees in their history. As Repko comes up with 2 down, and it's just amazing. Players obviously slow down late in their careers, and that's when you start getting the criticism. And I think what it has done is it's kind of tainted a little bit the conversation because he has slowed down what this man has achieved.
You know, and I look at the slow down conversation, and it actually irritates me because the man is paid to score runs, and he averages 112 runs a year for his career. Last year he scored 111. So yeah, he's slowed way down. His batting average dropped, yes, but his production and what really counts, how many times does he cross that plate, that stayed the same.
And you won't find a classier player in baseball than Derek Jeter. 2-2 to Repko, who sacrificed his first time up to allow the Twins to get 2 runners in scoring position, both scoring, and Repko goes down. So Burley strikes out 3 of the last 5 batters he's faced. Another 1-2-3 inning, and after 4.5, Twins up by 1. Fox Saturday Baseball is sponsored by AT&T. Rethink possible. Well, fans, help make a baseball moment kids will never forget. Go to ChevyBaseball.com to support youth baseball. Plus, enter to win one of 4 trips to the 2011 MLB All-Star Game coming up Tuesday, and the keys to a new Chevrolet. White Sox trailing by a run, batting in the bottom of the 5th inning, and Alex Rios, who grounded to short his first time up. 1-0 the count to Rios.
You know, the thing I noticed about Alex Rios this year, you see where his hands are? Last year, he would start with his hands well below his waist and then bring them up as he grounds out to third right there.
Short hop to Valencia, and there is one away to Ramon Castro. So Rios looking for a turnaround in the second half of the year.
Yeah, he's searching. I mean, and you can tell when a hitter's searching.
So here's Castro, who hit a shot to center field that bounced over the fence for a ground rule double. A 2-out double. And the White Sox could not convert, and the count strike 1 to Castro in his 13th big league season, but has played over 60 games only once in his career. Check swing, but it's in there for strike 2.
Well, the thing Castro's done that's been very intelligent, if you're going to be a backup catcher, you can be a backup catcher for a lot of years as long as you don't price yourself out of the game and understand what your role is. Your role is to spell the starting catcher and be able to hit a home run or 2 every now and then and call a good game.
And of course, A.J. Pierzynski is the regular catcher for the White Sox, getting a day off today. 1-2 to Castro with 1 out, and Gordon Beckham waiting on deck for the White Sox. Now the count even at 2-2.
A really good attempt at a backdoor breaking ball right there. He's trying to get that strike without the swing of the bat. Now he's going to go to the changeup.
Strike 3, and Dunsing with his second strikeout. 2 down.
Ball could have been considered a little bit high. Castro thought it was high. But I think that's right there at the waist. I like the call.
I'm sure you do. Gordon Beckham, the batter, with 2 down. By the way, Fox Sports.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say Fox Sports is proud to support Stand Up to Cancer and their work to fund groundbreaking research that helps accelerate treatment to patients. Stand up for someone you love. Visit standuptocancer.org/Fox Sports to learn more. You were saying?
I was saying that if the catcher caught it, I thought it was a strike.
And it's a fair ball. Nope.
Yeah.
Yes,
it is.
Home plate
umpires call it a fair ball.
Dan Bellino, and Beckham never got out of the batter's box, and he is tagged out at the plate. Catcher unassisted. 1-2-3 inning for Brian Dunsing.
Take a look at this last pitch that Joe Mauer pounces from behind the plate. And what people at home have to understand, that ball only has to be on the line. And as you see from this angle right here, Mauer recognizes he can bust out of there and get it before it gets off that chalk line. Gordon Beckham was not expecting it to. Short out, but an out nonetheless.
And Revere leading off to the 6th inning for the Twins. So Beckham never getting out of the batter's box, and Mauer very alert to make that tag and the final out in the bottom of the 5th inning. Joe Mauer back in action. And when you consider that the Twins have been built around Mauer and Morneau, and they really have not had the services of these guys this year. This Twins team, when they get their players back, are going to be tough to handle as Revere fouls it away. Absolutely.
And the thing about the Twins as an organization, they are taught one way to play the game. So when they come up to the big league level, they know what is expected of them. And if they can do it, they do it. But when they get there, as we watch Burley paint the outside corner again for another strikeout, the Twins minor leaguers, when they get to the big leagues, they know what's expected of them. The stability at manager. I know since I've been in the big leagues, there's been 2 of them. And I've been retired 14 years. First Tom Kelly, and then Ron Gardenhire. That's it. That's stability.
Alexi Casilla shows bunt and takes a strike. Well put. So the strikeout for Mark Burley, 6th of the game, and Burley has struck out 5 of the last 6 hitters. Casilla 1 for 2 with a single and a run batted in, and he takes call strike 2, 0-2.
And right now we're seeing Mark Burley at his best. He's painting away. He's throwing his cutter on the inner third. He's keeping these hitters off balance.
Puts that pitch outside 1-2, and you're so right about Ron Gardenhire. In fact, when the team was struggling, he just said, I just want you young players to know this is not how we play baseball. We are a winning team, so you have to hang in there. This could be extra bases down the left field line by Casilla. Chasing it is Juan Pierre, and going into second with a stand-up double is Alexi Casilla. His 2nd hit of the game, a 1-out double here in the 6th inning. Today's game, presented by AT&T, is sponsored by Chevrolet, proud to support youth baseball around the country, and by Pepsi. Summertime is Pepsi time. Joe Mauer coming to the plate with the Twins having a runner in scoring position. Mauer has bounced out twice, and Mauer came back Thursday and has been 5 for 12 in this series with 2 runs batted in and a double. Ball getting away from Castro, but no advance, and it's 1-0 to Mauer. Well, Joe Mauer's streak of 3 straight appearances in the All-Star game will be ending.
Well, he's just got to get healthy. He's too good a player. He's too good a hitter. And a lot of people think I'm crazy, but I would move him from behind the plate in a heartbeat.
And it seems to be the plan. The question is when.
Yeah.
2 balls, no strikes to Mauer. Casilla, the runner at second with 1 out. The Twins lead the White Sox 2-1 here in the 6th. And a fake to second. And Casilla did not have much of a lead as he slides back.
And
And there's a call strike to Mauer. 2 balls in 1 strike. You talk about catchers who have remained productive at the plate, spending their entire careers and long careers. And you look at, of course, Johnny Bench would be one, and Carlton Fisk, who played for the White Sox after starring for the Red Sox.
True, but these guys, I'm comparing Mauer more to a guy like Lance Parrish, whose frame is so big. Lance Parrish's numbers over the course of his 15 career, and at the heart of his career, 21 homers and 68 RBIs a year. But this was a guy that was yoked up, built like a beast in the weight room. Joe Mauer's a little more athletic.
Burley's 2-2 pitch, and Mauer grounds it to second base, and Beckham makes the play for out number 2. Casilla advances to third, and that will bring up Michael Kadire. And you can see the return of Mauer really helps Kadire, with Mauer hitting in front of Kadire. Not so much in this instance, but here is Kadire with 2 out and a runner at third. Kadire 0 for 2 on the day.
Well, with Kadire, they're going to put him on, and this is a very smart move. You don't take the hottest hitter and give them an opportunity to drive in a run right here.
It'll be the first walk issued by Burley, and they're going to pitch to the left-handed hitting Jim Thome, who has struck out twice. So good percentage move by Ozzie Guillen.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is. I mean it's straight up percentages, left on left. Burley knows Thome extremely well. They played together for a long time.
So going to first is Kadire, and the Twins now with runners at first and third. 2 down, and here is Thome, who struck out swinging in the second and took a called third strike in the fourth. 5 for 24 lifetime against Burley, with 2 home runs amongst his 5 hits.
Well, the one thing that Burley's not going to do, he has struck him out twice the first 2 times up. He is not going to go at him the same way in this at bat. He's going to keep mixing the way he's pitching it. You don't hit 595 home runs because you don't adjust.
Thome out with a sore toe, and last night missed 19 games and was out of action on the disabled list most in the month of May. Burley's 0-1 pitch taken inside.
And Burley has yet to throw him anything in the middle of the plate. It's either cutting or sinking. He has not thrown him a 4-seamer that has had any part of the plate. Again, that ball's in. His last time up now, he froze him on a cutter away. I would be willing to bet he's going to go back in there, because Thome knows he got him out away last time. And I'd be wrong.
Well, we only bet a nickel, so I mean, and I didn't, I wouldn't have bet against you anyway. 2 balls and 2 strikes, and the crowd wanted the strike.
That's a pitcher's pitch. It's not a strike. I mean, we're seeing the angle of it because of the center field camera angle. It looks good, but it's off the plate.
Just low.
Wow.
That was close.
That one right there, I would have said I'd have had a call.
Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Ozzie Guillen looking to see his team change its fortunes against the Twins. They have dropped 9 in a row to Minnesota. Runner from first goes, strike 3, and Burley strikes out Thome for the 3rd time, and the Twins lead runners at first and third. It remains 2-1.
All right, we're going to look at this pitch by pitch from Burley to Big Jim Thome. He starts him off with a cutter up, goes in with a sinker, goes back in with another fastball, tried to paint him away, then went away again, and then added a little more break to his cutter, which was more of a slider than a cutter, to get him to swing through it. Just an outstanding job of pitching by Burley.
Against the veteran who knows how to hit for sure, and Brian Dunsing, who has retired 10 straight White Sox, facing Brent Morel, the number 9 hitter, who lined to Ben Revere in center field his first time up.
And I think what we saw in that at bat with Thome is a pitcher that really emphasizes pitching in and what pitching in is all about. Pitching in is not hitting somebody. Pitching in is making the hitter conscious of the ball on the inner third of the plate.
And widening the plate.
Exactly. You come in to get the outside part of the plate from that hitter.
Morel will be followed by Juan Pierre, the leadoff hitter for the White Sox. Bounding ball going to his left as Nishioka makes the play. Nishioka struggled a bit when he came back to action after his broken leg in the field, but looks like he's settled down. So there's 1 out here in the 6th, and 11 in a row set down by Dunsing, who is a native of Omaha, Nebraska, and of course the home of the College World Series, and played in his hometown in the 2005 College World Series as he teamed with Alex Gordon of the Royals and Jabba Chamberlain of the Yankees, who all played for the Cornhuskers. Here's Juan Pierre, ball 1 up high.
And again, Juan Pierre is not a guy that's going to go up there looking to hack first pitch. He is going to see as many pitches as he can.
And takes the ball 1-1, 2 balls and no strikes. Pierre is 0 for 2.
We're getting to the point in the game now where he may want to look for a fastball to try and hit out of the park.
And up high, and Dunsing for the first time goes 3-0 on a hitter with Alexi Ramirez on deck for the White Sox. Gave Chicago their first inning lead with a home run. There's a strike, 3-1. Dunsing has allowed the 1 run, the homer in the first inning, and 2 hits, the double by Castro, and since then, after 2 are out, has retired 11 in a row. And there's a strike, and the count is full.
And I was going to say, you can count on Dunsing throwing at least 6 pitches in this at bat, because Pierre is not going to swing until he's forced into swinging.
And a line drive left field. Repko, tough play, will take it on a bounce and quickly get it in. And so Juan Pierre with a base hit, the 3rd hit of the game for the White Sox. Time now for a DirecTV game break. Bottom of the 3rd, no score. 10th pitch of the at-bat, and the first career home run for Cliff Lee. And the Phillies take a 1-0 lead over the Braves, but the Braves tied it up on a single by Dan Uggla. Or since tied it up on a home run by Dan Uggla, and it's 1-1 in that game. So the Phillies, Cliff Lee helping his own cause.
It doesn't surprise me at all. The guy went back to the Phillies in large part because he wanted to hit. He's a tremendous athlete, swings the bat well.
Call strike to Ramirez. Get every MLB game and the most in HD. Call 1-800-DIRECTV. Ramirez's home run was his 9th of the year.
And now Dunsing's put himself in a position now. He's got a guy at the plate with a little bit of pop. He's going to want to work down in the zone and get that ball hit on the ground.
Sliced foul out of play, and Paul Konerko on deck. So the White Sox with an opportunity here, trailing 2-1.
And that was Dunsing's hardest fastball of the day at 93 miles an hour. Now I look for him to change up. He's either going to change up or he's going to try and backdoor a breaking ball to get Ramirez to roll over on something.
And a drive hit to center field, base hit. And going to 3rd will be Pierre, and the White Sox with runners at 1st and 3rd and 1 out, and Nishioka trying to decoy Juan Pierre, who was having nothing of it, kept running and goes to 3rd on the single by Ramirez. his second hit of the game, and the tying run is at third base with one away, and Paul Konerko coming up for Chicago.
He definitely deked me on it. I don't know about you, Dick, but he got me on it.
I never stopped running, to tell you the truth. I never hesitated. First and third and one out, and Konerko, who has been retired twice. And big chance here for one of the two White Sox who will be playing Tuesday in the All-Star game in the Arizona desert that you'll see on Fox. Konerko with 65 runs batted in, fourth in the American League coming in.
And this is where Dunsing has to be smart. He's got Adam Dunn, who's struggling mightily, standing on deck.
And a strike. Good pitch on the inside corner.
Very good. He starts Konerko off with a fastball on the inner third. Now you got to make a decision. Am I going to go back in the zone and give this guy a chance to beat me, or am I going to make Adam Dunn beat me?
White Sox have now out-hit the Twins 4-3. One away. Dunn is on deck. Pierre at third. Alexei Ramirez with the lead at first. Up high, and it's 1-1. Konerko will be an all-star for the fifth time. Got a chance last year after Justin Morneau had to back out because of injury. Konerko 4 for 17 against Dunsing in his career. Hits this high in the air, and that will get the run in at least. And going back and making the catch is Revere, and tagging up and scoring is Pierre, and tagging up and going to second is Alexei Ramirez. Pierre scores, and the game is tied 2-2. Konerko with his 66th run batted in of the year. And Revere had no more room to go.
No. And that was my whole point. You got Konerko up there, who is their run producer. And you got Adam Dunn, who's left-handed, struggling at the time, standing on deck. You have an opportunity to get Dunn to hit into a double play. I'm afraid I'm ahead. Would have not given Konerko anything to hit.
Dunn is 0 for 2. And grounds this to Luke Hughes, who will make the play unassisted, and that will retire the side, but the White Sox tie it up 2-2, and will return to Chicago after a word from your local Fox station. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by AT&T. And we move to the 7th inning. The Twins 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors. The White Sox 2 runs, 4 hits, and 1 error, which figured in the 2 runs scored by the Twins in the 3rd inning. Both runs unearned as Valencia takes a call strike. He bounced to 3rd and struck out looking in his 2nd at bat. By the way, the 7 strikeouts by Burley represents the season's high. Count goes to 1-1.
He's been extremely good today, changing speeds, changing locations. He's kept the Twins hitters off balance all day long.
Chasing that pitch and a strike, and he's been good since late April because Burley has not really allowed more than 3 runs in any of his past 11 outings. Got to go back to April 27th, so that's tremendous consistency for Burley, looking for his 7th win of the year. Got jammed and back to the mound. Valencia is retired for the first out. Well, the All-Star game coming up, and let's talk about some of the events that will precede it. The State Farm Home Run Derby, which will take place Monday on ESPN, and the MLB All-Star Red Carpet Show presented by Chevrolet, and that'll come your way Tuesday on the MLB Network. Luke Hughes, and ball 1 to Hughes, who scored one of the Twins' runs, reached on an error to lead off the 3rd inning, struck out on a called 3rd strike, so he's 0 for 2 with a run, and the count is 2-0.
And these Twins hitters will figure out you do not hit the ball back to Burley. He does have the last 2 Gold Gloves.
Jim Cott, of course, who was a brilliant pitcher for many clubs, including the Minnesota Twins, where he pitched in the World Series back in 1965. And again for the Cardinals in '82, won 16 Gold Gloves as a pitcher.
Well, did Maddox win 17 or 18?
16, yes. And of course, Brooks Robinson, the human vacuum cleaner for the Orioles, he had 16 as a great third baseman. There you see Burley with 7 strikeouts, 11 groundouts, only 1 fly ball hit, and that was by Kadire to start the 4th inning.
Well, I know that Jim Cott won more gloves than I made fielding plays in my entire career.
Now, don't demean your fielding ability.
Oh, I was a terrible fielder. If it was hit to me, I could catch it.
Okay, well, that's what you're supposed to do. Pop up to Beckham. And there's 2 out. And we understand from our crack research group that you were right, and the research group had messed up.
See?
18 Gold Gloves for Greg Maddux.
You go to arguing with the Wild thing, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to be wrong.
Come up second best. Nishioka calls strike to Nishioka. Has one of the 3 Twins hits with a bunt single and scored one of those 2 runs in the 3rd inning. It's interesting that the team with the best fielding percentage in the American League, the White Sox, have allowed 2 unearned runs here.
That's the irony of it all. That they've struggled so mightily against this team. Best fielding team in Major League Baseball, and right now they're in a tie game because of an error.
And strike 3. Nishioka goes down. That's the 8th strikeout for Burley. Best of the year. A 1-2-3 inning. White Sox come up in the 7th, all even 2-2.
One of the more flamboyant relief pitchers in the game, Mitch Williams of the Chicago Cubs, has come in.
By popular demand, a pickoff. Mitch Williams makes his All-Star game debut, and as it turned out, the only appearance of his career. He walked Ruben Sierra, picked him off first, and got Steve Sachs to pop out. He struck out Mickey Tettleton as well, and the American League won the game 5-3. And Mitch Williams.
Yeah, that was the year Mickey Tettleton was on the Fruit Loops. That was the year that he ate Fruit Loops every day.
Okay. It's like Wade Boggs with his chicken.
Yep.
Carlos Quentin leading off here. Tell me about Ruben Sierra now. Huh?
That's what cracked me up. He was my teammate for 4 years in Texas. He knew I was wild, and he knew I had a good pickoff move. So I walked him and picked him off first pitch. He wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but he was a heck of a player.
Well, here it is. Here's the pickoff of Ruben Sierra. Boy, he was out by a mile.
Hey, we're watching one of the better ones today. Mark Burley has 78 pickoffs in his career. That's the equivalent, folks, to 26 innings of outs.
Amazing.
Without having to face a hitter.
What did it mean to be in that All-Star game?
It meant everything. Honestly, it was a thrill of a lifetime to be able to take part in that game.
Quentin fouls it out of play, and of course it's going to be a great thrill for some of these players that are going to go in, and there have been several that have to be replaced because of injury. But I remember there was a time when players said, look, I'd rather have the 3 days off. And I think the excitement about being there, bringing their families, seeing the other players, being in the locker room and playing in that game really is as good as anything other than maybe getting a World Series.
Well, let me put it this way. 90% of the guys that say they would rather have the 3 days off say that because they didn't make the All-Star team.
You would know.
I know I would have every year would have loved to have made the All-Star team.
2-2 the score. Bottom of the 7th inning. Carlos Quentin 0 for 2 facing Brian Dunsing, who has been outstanding, and they appealed to Larry Vanover, the first base umpire, and pitch is taken for ball, so the count is full. 3-2 to Quentin. He'll be followed by Alex Rios and Ramon Castro.
That's the first time I've ever seen a hitter appeal to the first base ump.
We're seeing everything. We're seeing fielders getting jammed today, Mitch. How often do we see that?
Gee, many Christmas. I've seen a lot today. Oh, that's
and
a bullet.
Line drive, center field, diving, and making the catch is Ben Revere. Ben Revere coming up to make the play in center field to rob Carlos Quentin. Second time today, Quentin has been robbed of a base hit.
I was going to say, I didn't think. Well, he did catch that ball. That's a great play. I was watching the third base coach of the White Sox, and when he didn't argue, that told me that he definitely got the glove under.
So Quentin first robbed by Danny Valencia, going to his left in the second inning, and now by Revere coming in center field, is retired. And here's Alex Rios, who has bounced out twice against Dunsing. Strike on the outside corner. So the Twins, interesting, they come in 12th in the league in fielding. Only the A's and the Rangers have committed more errors, and they have made the sparkling plays in the field today.
And this kid Revere has been a human highlight film defensively since being brought up when Denard Span got hurt. He's been tremendous for the Twins.
1-1 pitch in the air to center field, and there's Revere, has plenty of room, and he makes the catch for out number 2. So Ben Revere, who is from Lexington, Kentucky, played his high school ball at Catholic High, was a first-round pick in 2007, a standout high school football player. We won't start to get into what Ozzie Guillen was saying before the game about how football players, maybe athletes, but baseball players are baseball players.
And there is a difference. I agree with a lot of what Ozzie was saying. He said, name me one football player that was a good baseball player.
Here's Ramon Castro, who doubled in 2 trips to the plate and takes ball 1. And he was Ozzie was his normal entertaining self.
Oh yeah, he is definitely great for our game. He's a sound bite, just looking for a place to happen. You never have to wonder what he's thinking.
He says, look, what do they do? Catch it. Someone said, Kirk Gibson was a football player.
Where? He
said, where? And so they said Michigan State.
Michigan
was
State,
a wide receiver. He said, wide? He was a wide receiver there. And
but I will say this. I think if Bo Jackson had foregone football and concentrated solely on baseball, he would have been a tremendous baseball player. But that football career takes such a toll on you that I don't think you can do both.
3 balls and 1 strike with 2 outs. And Castro takes ball 4 outside. Today's game presented by AT&T is sponsored by Michelin, a better way forward, and by Burger King, now offering $1 frozen drinks. So Dunsing with his first walk of the game with 2 outs, bringing up Gordon Beckham, who was 0 for 2 last time up.
Hit a ball 7 inches.
7 inches and never moved out of the batter's box, but Joe Mauer certainly jumped out from behind the plate, tagged him out for the out. And there's a call strike to Beckham.
I'll tell you what, the home plate umpire is giving that high curveball strike today. You look at this pitch, that ball's up. But it's crossing, it's finishing at the belt.
Dunsing 4-0. Lifetime against the White Sox in a 2-2 game here. 2 out, 1 on, and way behind that one was Beckham. That was a good fastball that time by Dunsing.
And that's the benefit of a big breaking ball. You can make a fastball look 95 when you're throwing a 78, 79 mile an hour curveball.
That was 98 miles per hour. So it's 0-2 now to Beckham. Line drive to right field. It's a base hit. Beckham rounds first on his way to second. And they're going to hold Castro at third base. And a good decision. You don't want to make the third out there. And Castro not blessed with the world of speed. And the double for Gordon Beckham. And runners are at second and third with the number 9 hitter Morel coming up.
And that kind of surprises me in this situation this late in the game, where you got A.J. Przinsky on the bench that you could bring in as catcher, why you wouldn't pinch run there for Castro, just in case something like this happens.
And a conference at the mound broken up by Dan Bellino, the home place umpire. There's the third base coach, Jeff Cox. Runners are at second and third and 2 out, and here is Brent Morel, who is lined to Revere in center and bounced out to Nishioka. So the White Sox in a 2-2 game tied the score last inning, and here in the 7th have the go-ahead run at third. And the insurance run, Beckham at second base. First pitch, strike 1.
Starts him off with a 93 mile an hour fastball on the outer third. And see here, all Morel needs to do is put a good swing on the ball. He does not need to hit a homer. A base hit gets you the run you need.
Just looking for contact. Goes after the low pitch, foul tipped into the glove of Mauer, and the count now is 0-2. So Morel in a hole here, no balls and 2 strikes.
Now this is where Castro on third base has got to be alert, because of the bouncing breaking ball. If I'm Dunsing, I'm going up with high fastballs right at Mauer's mask.
Hit it in the air to right field, and a routine fly for Michael Kadire, and that ends the threat. The White Sox leave 2 runners in scoring possession. There's the catch by Revere, robbing Quinton to start this 7th inning. So once again, the White Sox don't deliver with runners in scoring position. We're 2-2 into the 8th. Burley has allowed 2 unearned runs. He's given up 3 hits, and the number 9 hitter, Jason Repko, leading off in the 8th inning, takes a strike. Repko is 0 for 1, sacrificed, and then struck out against Burley. And the count now 0-2 to Repko, who's in his 2nd year with the Twins after playing parts of 4 seasons with the Dodgers.
And Burley has done, a masterful job of keeping these hitters off balance. Wow. That's a really good 0-2 pitch right there.
And there you see the left-hander is Glenn Perkins, who has been really throwing well for Ron Gardenhire. Matt Capps has been his closer. He had 3 rough outings. They took him out of that role. And, of course, Joe Nathan coming back. And, Nathan still looms large for the Twins. Slowly hit and foul down the third base line.
Well, I think next spring, Joe Nathan will be back to 100%. I think coming off of that Tommy John this year, he may have come back sooner than he should have, but he is one of the top 5 closers in the game when he's right. And I look for next year to be the year that he's back to where he's supposed to be.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Repko, followed by the top of the order, Ben Revere. Foul again, and then Alexi Casilla here in the 8th inning. Burley has struck out 8 batters, and that is a season's high for him, and has walked 1, but that was an intentional pass in the 6th inning. Did he go around? No, the pitch is taken for the ball, and it's 2-2. White Sox, and it's 3-2. Checking the count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. There's the line on for Mark Burley thus far. 3-2 pitch, grounded, and it's Ramirez. Throw to first, not in time, and sliding into first was Repko.
Wow.
And arguing is Paul Konerko with first base umpire Larry Vanover. Thought they had him, and coming out of the dugout now and going over to first is Ozzie Guillen to plead the case further.
I'm a little disappointed in Ozzie's argument right there.
Didn't stay out there long.
He was safe. Very rarely do I think that sliding helps you get there quicker. He's out.
And an infield hit.
I have to change that. Yeah, he's out on that play. Great play by Konerko and Lexi Ramirez. But there's not a whole lot of anything Ozzie can say there. They're not going to change the call.
Ben Revere 0 for 3 with a run batted in on a ground out back in the 3rd inning, trying to keep Repko close. He has 6 stolen bases in 7 tries. In a 2-2 game, represents a go-ahead run against Mark Burley with nobody out. Showing bunt and taking a ball, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike now. There's the way the infield is aligned for the White Sox, and Konerko has to hold on Repko at first base. And the bunt fouled back. So it's 1-2. Alexi Casilla is on deck, has 2 hits. Morel playing in on the grass at third, and there you have double-barreled action as Jesse Crane and Matt Thornton, and nearly a pickoff at first base. Getting back is Repko. Don't think twice.
And Repko's got to be careful. I mean, Burley's got, if not probably the best move in the game now that Andy Pettit's out of the game.
And there's the bunt down the first base line, and Konerko just gets him at first.
Wow.
He had trouble getting the ball out of his glove, Mitch, and he barely got it to Beckham in time for the out, and the sacrifice will move Repko into scoring position.
Yeah, I think that might be a makeup call right there, Dick, because I think he was safe on that play. Paulie had trouble getting the ball out of his glove, as you can see here. He's safe. Wow. Okay, so we're even. I thought he missed the first one, got that one wrong too, but as long as they even out.
Here's Alexi Casilla. RBI single in the third and doubled in the sixth inning. 2 for 3 on the afternoon. The Twins now with the go-ahead run at second in a 2-2 game here in the top of the eighth inning against Mark Burley. Showed the bunt, and the ball getting away from Castro, and rounding third and staying there is Repko. The ball bounced off of Castro's glove, it appeared.
I think it hit him in the shoulder or the hand.
And now Burley says, let's bring everyone in here.
Yeah, it hit him in the right hand. It never touched his glove.
And coming out now to check on Ramon Castro, as the Twins now have the go-ahead run at third. Let's listen to this here. And coming out of the game will be Castro. Herm Schneider, the trainer for the White Sox, walks him into the dugout. And so we'll have a new catcher. It'll be ruled a pass ball charged to Castro, allowing Repko to go to third base. And the count, 2 balls and no strikes to Casilla.
I'm not sure that wasn't a cross-up.
And I'm not sure whether Castro is definitely coming out of this game.
Oh, he's coming out.
Yeah, he is now.
He's coming out, but I think he got crossed up. I think he might have been looking change up there.
Pierzynski's going to come back in.
I can't tell from that because you got a guy on second base. I don't know what their sequence is. His glove was there. Maybe he took his eye off the ball to look at the runner. But that's got a sting, I can tell you that.
A.J. Pierzynski is tossing the ball, is behind the plate now for the White Sox. Want to remind you, this Tuesday, don't miss the world premiere preview of The X Factor. Simon Cowell is back with television's next big event, and you can only catch it during the All-Star game this Tuesday right here on Fox. So entertainment galore coming your way on Fox surrounding the All-Star game coming your way Tuesday. So Pierzynski ready to go now, takes over behind the plate, and the count to Casilla, 2 balls and no strikes. And the infield in for the White Sox with 1 out, trying to cut off that lead run.
And don't put it past Gardenhire to squeeze or safety squeeze in this situation.
Swinging away, and a fly ball to center field, and this may be deep enough. Alex Rios with the catch, tagging up his Repko. Here comes the throw, cut off, the run scores, and the Twins take a 3-2 lead. So Casilla, with a big day today, has knocked in 2 of the 3 runs for the Twins, along with 2 hits. Repko comes around and scores, and it's 3-2. And once again, it was the pass ball that set it all up.
That's the whole thing. You got an error and now a pass ball, and this is the one thing Mark Burley did not want: a ball up in the zone that Casilla could lift into the outfield. That's where you want to be down and get the ball on the ground.
Joe Mauer taking a strike with 2 out and the base is clear. Mauer is 0 for 3 today. Twins getting 2 unearned runs and a ground ball to Morel at third, and that will do it. But the Twins get the go-ahead run on a sacrifice fly by Casilla. 3-2 the score. Today's game, presented by AT&T, is sponsored by Viagra and by Gillette Fusion Pro Glide. Turns shaving into gliding and skeptics into believers. And the new pitcher, Glenn Perkins, the left-hander who has been outstanding for the Twins, and he'll be facing the top of the order. And here is Perkins, the 28-year-old from the Twin Cities. And his first pitch to Pierre is in for a strike. Juan Pierre is 1 for 3 and making his 34th appearance. He has not allowed a run in his last 8 appearances and ranks 3rd among lefty relievers in the AL with an ERA of 1.72.
You can see he's rushing it up there at 96 miles an hour. Pierre has one job here. Find a way to get on base to where they can bunt him into scoring position. That's what you call tardy. Juan Pierre is not on that fastball.
Some people will say he was late with that swing.
It might be just a little bit late. And now if you want to catch him cheating, you start a slider down the middle.
1-2 pitch. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Pierre. He'll be followed by Alexi Ramirez and Paul Konerko. As Ozzie Guillen, for some reason, has his team bedazzled by the Twins, who have won 9 in a row against these White Sox and 30 of the last 37 games. In fact, the White Sox know that they've got to do better against the division foes. They're 7-15 coming in. If they're going to make a race out of it, they're 4 games under 500, and hit by the pitch is Pierre. Well, he found a way.
Exactly. Honestly, I don't understand that. When you have a little guy that's not a power hitter, his whole objective is to take short swings. He didn't throw him one breaking ball in that at bat. And Juan Pierre did exactly what he needed to do. Find a way to get on. He gets hit in the elbow. If Perkins had gone to a breaking ball, I think the at bat would have been over.
So here is Alexi Ramirez, who has 2 hits, including a first inning home run. Tying runners at first base, showing bunt and taking inside for ball 1. Mauer calls time and will go out to talk to Perkins. So the White Sox trying to fight back here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And Glenn Perkins, who had retired 12 straight batters since the 29th in June until he hit Juan Pierre to start this 8th inning.
I'm not sure how serious Lexi is about bunting right here. He's squared around, but I'm not sure this isn't just for show. Because if he's doing this for real, he does not look very comfortable in the bunting position.
Pierre, by the way, with 13 stolen bases, but he's been caught 10 times, which ranks at the top of the league. And coming in, the White Sox are 12th in the league in stolen bases. They want to get the tying run in scoring position, and a good bunt right outside of home plate, and Mauer throws him out. Good play by Mauer, and Alexi Ramirez does his job. He gets Pierre into scoring position on the sacrifice with 1 out. And Paul Konerko coming to the plate, trying to drive in another run. He knocked in the second White Sox run with a sacrifice fly back in the 6th inning.
There's that old saying, you don't have to hit me in the head with a damp mop twice. You got a left-hander on the mound, a base open. Here, okay, thank you. They're walking him.
And first base is open, and they'll pitch to Adam Dunn. So Adam Dunn on the spot right here, Mitch, and
well, it's an old saying in baseball, you don't ever walk the winning run intentionally. But in this situation, with Dunner struggling the way he is, I think Gardy has one decision. You do not give Konerko the opportunity to beat you.
Joe Nathan is up and now throwing in the Twins bullpen. Ball 4, and Konerko will go to first. So the White Sox with runners at first and second and 1 out. Pierre is at second. He was hit by a pitch to start the inning, and then the sacrifice. And coming out to the mound is Rick Anderson, the pitching coach, to talk things over with Adam Dunn coming to the plate. So Nathan joined by, or Jesse Crane is in the White Sox bullpen. And Dunn 0 for 3, but that was against Brian Dunsing.
Perkins has got about 5 miles an hour more on his fastball. I've yet to see him throw a breaking ball, though.
Dunn 2 for 59 against left-handed pitching this year, and 0 for 1 against Perkins in his career.
But I can tell you this, at some point Adam Dunn is going to come out of this, and he's going to come out of it in a big way.
Well, the White Sox fans hope that this would be the moment that he does. Twins lead it 3-2 in the first pitch. Ball 1 to Dunn. Has not had an extra base hit against a southpaw, like many of the White Sox have been lacking in that department against any pitcher.
Yeah, the whole White Sox team is down in extra base hit production.
Grounded foul down the right field line, and the count is 1-1 to the White Sox designated hitter.
Well, I can tell you this, he is not going to be able to stand out there, Perkins, and pump fastballs to Adam Dunn in the middle of the plate. He's going to have to mix in a breaking ball.
Pierre with the lead at second. Konerko on at first. Fouls this back. Challenged him there.
He's challenging him. But sometimes discretion's a better part of valor. And I'm going to be throwing him a breaking ball right here. When you have a man struggling, they struggle because they're not hitting off-speed pitches.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Adam Dunn. 2 on, 1 out. And a fly ball hit to shallow right field. Chasing it is Kadire near the line and makes the catch in foul territory. Here is Pierre, and he tags up, safe at third. Danny Valencia was a decoy at third, did not act as if there were a throw coming, but Pierre slid and beat the throw to third.
This is what makes Kadire so valuable. You can play him anywhere, and then you get this kind of arm from the outfield right on the money. Great call by the umpire at third base. He was safe, but a tremendous throw by Kadire.
Brian Gorman, the crew chief, and Ron Gardenhire is out of the dugout, and we're going to have a pitching change. Joe Nathan is coming in, and here's Michael Kadire, and he's going to go out to the desert, and he's got all his gloves. Plays first base, second base, third base.
Outfield, it doesn't matter.
You name it, and he's ready for it. We're going to have a break as Nathan will come in for the Twins. The tying run is at third in the bottom of the 8th. We'll be right back. And there's Juan Pierre at third, and Joe Nathan is the new pitcher for the Twins. Pitched a 1-2-3 eighth inning last night in Minnesota's win. Has allowed only 1 run allowed in 6 outings, and Vizquel has gone on as a pinch runner at first base. Tying run at third with 2 out, and the first pitch is a strike to Carlos Quentin, who's been robbed of a hit twice today and now 0 for 2 against this man.
And Joe Nathan, like I said before, when he is right, he's one of the top 5 closers in the game. He went through the Tommy John surgery last year. I don't think he's back at full strength. You see his fastball there was at 92. This is a guy that's at 95 to 96 with his fastball normally.
Just missing outside for a ball, 1-1. That was a close pitch, and Nathan wanted that one.
But that breaking ball is definitely coming back.
So Juan Pierre is at third base, was hit by a pitch, sacrificed, and went to third on a fly ball. Good throw by Kadire, but not in time to get Pierre. And Omar Vizquel running for Konerko at first. 2 down here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And whenever you see that, what does the crowd yell? Boo or balk.
All they're doing right there, he's just trying to get Juan Pierre to flinch something. That old fake third to first pickoff move that never works, that would probably work here.
1-1 to Quentin. Fouls it out of play. Now a ball and 2 strikes to Carlos Quentin, who's headed for the All-Star game along with Paul Konerko, the 2 representatives for the White Sox. White Sox 4 games under 500, have dropped 4 in a row, and 5.5 games behind the Indians in the division.
This is a big AB right here for Carlos Quentin. They need to get this monkey off their back that they can't beat the Twins.
1-2 pitch. And a line drive, base hit to left field. Scoring is Pierre, and the game is tied 3-3 as Carlos Quentin delivers on the payoff pitch.
That's huge right there. Yeah. We're going to look at the pitch by pitch here from Joe Nathan. First pitch, he throws him a fastball. A second pitch breaking ball, very good. Goes away with the fastball and then comes back with the fastball and had just playing too much of the plate. I think if he'd gone to his breaking ball, as good a break as the first one had on it, I'd have gone back to it.
And for Quentin, his 51st run batted in of the year. Vizquel, the pinch runner, goes to second. So now the lead runners at second here in the bottom of the 8th with 2 out and a 3-3 score. And the pitch to Alex Rios is outside for ball 1. Rios is 0 for 3 today. And it all started with Pierre getting hit. That's the 53rd time that the White Sox have been hit by a pitch this year. That's 12 more than any other team in the majors, and it certainly paid off for him here in this inning.
Absolutely. And as I said when the inning started, he had one job: find a way to get on base.
And he did. 2-0 now to Rios.
Right now, Alex Rios struggling like he's struggling. He needs to be looking in one zone. If the pitch is not in that zone, don't swing. He's up. He's in a cripple count. He's got to look fastball, middle. If it's not there, take it.
2-0 pitch. And it's 3-0 to Rios with Pierzynski on deck for the White Sox. There is A.J., who came in the game after Castro was hurt with a pitch off of his hand and had to be replaced. In the 8th inning. Now it's 3-1.
And again, Alex Rios, he's got to do the same thing here. He's got to look in one zone. This is an at-bat that can get a hitter out of a funk. He's in a triple count. Look for that pitch you like and drive it.
Rio's 2 for 5 against Nathan. We're tied 3-3. 3-1 pitch in the air to right center field. Kadire coming over, calling for it, and makes the catch to end the inning. But Carlos Quentin's RBI single ties the game at 3-3 as we go to the ninth. Omar Vizquel, who went into pinch run, now was playing third base. And Mark Teahan moves to first base as Konerko leaves the game. And the new pitcher is Jesse Crain in his first year with the White Sox after 7 years with the Twins. Turned 30 years of age on Tuesday and pitched a scoreless ninth inning last night.
And he was one of the big reasons the Twins had.
Kadire with a drive deep to right field. And this ball is caught by Carlos Quentin with a great catch, robbing Kadire of extra bases.
That's just a tremendous outfield play right there. You look at him, he keeps his head on the ball the whole way through, times his jump perfectly, knows where the fence is. Jesse Crain is like, wow,
fist pump.
I am good.
Here is Jim Thome, who is 0 for 3 and happy to be facing somebody other than Mark Burley after striking out 3 times against the veteran left-hander who leaves the game, giving up 3 runs, but none of them earned. And a call strike to Thome, and Crain is ahead of him, no balls and 2 strikes. Report on Ramon Castro, Mitch, excuse me, is that he has a broken right hand.
That doesn't surprise me. The noise that made when we played back the sound on it.
Thome strikes out. Or out number 2.
And you look at that, and that pitch right there, Jesse Crain hung that so bad he couldn't hit it. And as pitchers, every now and then you get lucky. And you see this right here. That's hung so bad the hitter can't hit it.
So Thome striking out 4 times. They're 2 out, and Danny Valencia, who is 0 for 3. And chops this one. Off the mound is Crain. And Crane makes an outstanding play. Sort of a jump throw by Crane to retire Valencia. A 1-2-3 inning. And the White Sox come up in the bottom of the ninth with a chance to win it. Coming in and makes a superb play to retire the Twins.
And who says pitchers aren't athletes? Look at this. And right on the money. That's a Derek Jeter play from the pitcher position.
So the White Sox here will be facing Jose Ramirez in the bottom of the ninth inning. Has not pitched since Wednesday against the Rays. Struck out the only batter he's faced and will be facing A.J. Pierzynski, who's hitting .295 with 3 homers and 28 runs batted in. And at the plate for the first time today, took over for Ramon Castro, who suffered a broken right hand on a pass ball in the 8th inning. So here's Pierzynski, and the first pitch, ball 1. He'll be followed by Gordon Beckham and then Mark Teahan, who went in to replace Konerko. So Maharis has not seen much action. And in that one time since giving up 3 runs to the Dodgers on the 27th of June, and it's lifted out to right center field, coming on over, and this one is going to drop for a hit. Dyer gets it into the infield, but not before Pierzynski has a double to start the 9th inning.
You know, it's going to be interesting here. Will Ozzie pinch run here? I don't think he can, because I don't think they're carrying an emergency catcher.
I think he's got to stay in there.
He's got to stay in. You got to bunt him over.
Remember, the Twins are 6-0 against the White Sox this year, have won 9 straight, and have a domineering 30 wins in their last 37 games against the White Sox, who are trying to break that string here. And both of these teams in the teeth of divisional opponents, which will serve them well in this race. Here's Beckham. 1 for 3 with a double his last time up. Misses the fastball for a strike.
It's surprising to me. The first baseman's back.
Third baseman is back.
Yeah, the first and third baseman are playing even with the grass. First baseman's back beyond the grass, and they're not bunting here.
Now Harris, the pitcher. And a foul out of play, and now it's no balls and 2 strikes, and so the bunt possibility off the board, perhaps.
Yeah, if they're not going to do it in that situation, they're definitely not going to do it 2 strikes. Ozzy's counting on a base hit.
Amazing with nobody out. It would be 1 out and the winning run at third.
A good bunt, regardless of the speed of the runner, you're still going to advance the runner.
Here's the 0-2 pitch inside, and a good stop there by Mauer. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Maharis, the 4th pitcher of the day for the Twins.
That's a great job right there by Joe Mauer, keeping that ball in front of him. You do not want to advance this runner,
especially when you're screened by the batter.
Right.
That's a difficult play for him. 1 and 2 with nobody out. And now the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes to Beckham.
And this is a situation when I was back when I pitched, I would try and strike the guy out up. I didn't want to take a chance of bouncing something to enable that guy to advance on a pass ball or a wild pitch. I'd go up in the zone.
See what he does. And he throws it over the plate and a fly ball out to left field, and Repko makes the catch. No tag up, and that was a good pitch to hit for Beckham.
Yeah, Maharis hung that breaking ball in the middle of the plate, and Beckham hit it decent. And Repko's fighting that sun out there too. That was a very good play. Look at him fighting the sun here.
And Pierzynski not sure about whether he should have tagged or not. Now saying, can I do it now? And the answer is no. So there's 1 out. And Pierzynski remains at second. And Mark Teahen coming up for the first time. Teahen batting .221 with 3 homers and 9 runs batted in. Only the 87th time he's been to the plate.
And that's the thing. If Beckham bunts him over, now you can win the ball game with an out. Fly ball, anything. You got a guy on third with less than 2 outs. Now the White Sox are putting up position to do something they've been very poor at all year, and that's drive runners in from scoring position.
Juan Pierre is on deck, and a fly ball hit out to center field. Ben Revere is trying to battle the sun, and he makes the catch. Pierzynski goes a third of the way and goes back to second. But Teahen is retired for the second out. So with 2 out and the runner at second, Juan Pierre coming up. Remember, the White Sox had the leadoff runner at second on Pierzynski's double to start this night.
And that's the sad part about it. I mean, the injury to Castro cost Ozzie Guillen the ability to pinch run in that situation and bunt the man to third. Because both those balls right there, that's the game. You bunt him over, that fly ball right there scores him, game's over.
Pierre 1 for 3 with a single, was hit by a pitch and came around and scored the tying run in the 8th inning. Takes a strike from Jose Maharis.
And they have got Pierre played close to the line in left in the outfield. Left center field is wide open right here.
As is right center field for Pierre, who likes to go to the opposite field. Holds up and takes a ball 1-1. Ryan Dunsing started, worked 7 innings, giving up 2 runs. Glenn Perkins in 2/3 of an inning was charged with the other run when Joe Nathan gave up the single to Carlos Quentin with 2 out in the 8th inning. Sliced out of play off the left side, and it remains 1-2.
And now A.J. Pierzynski has got to get a good secondary lead at second base here, because Maharis is going to try and bury a breaking ball and strike him out. And Pierzynski's got to be aware of a pass ball here in advance.
White Sox are 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position today. Pierzynski at second represents the winning run. Got jammed and fought it off, and it remains 1-2 to Juan Pierre.
And that's one thing Juan Pierre is very good at. You're not going to strike him out easily. because he's not up there looking to hit home runs. He's up there looking to put the ball in play.
And center fielder Ramirez has moved in a bit. He's playing in medium center field. That breaks inside. 2-2 now to Juan Pierre. White Sox with a winning run at second base. Berzinski doubled, but then Beckham, who did not try to bunt him over, flied out. There's the outfield alignment for the Twins. And Tian flied out as well. Here's the 2-2. Up high. Full count. And if Pierre gets aboard, Alexei Ramirez has a chance for the White Sox. And he has been productive today in a big way. Ron Gardenhire trying to keep the White Sox at bay and force extra innings here.
Gardy's looking at his lineup card. Maharis is going to have to throw something over the plate because Pierre does not go fishing very often.
Berzinski with the lead at second. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 2 outs. That's up high. Ball 4. And Ramirez will get a chance as the White Sox now with runners at first and second. And Alexei Ramirez with a first inning home run. A single in the 6th inning. And a sacrifice. And Gardenhire coming to the mound. And Alex Burnett is going to come in and pitch here to Alexei Ramirez. Time now for a DirecTV game break. Mike Adams with a ground ball to second. And Andre Ethier is out. And they go now to the 9th inning in that Dodgers-Padres game. Meanwhile, Alex Burnett, no hits in that game for the Dodgers. And here's Alex Burnett facing Alexei Ramirez. Very close to hitting him. Don't forget to get every MLB game and the most in HD. Call 1-800-DIRECTV. So here is Burnett making his 34th appearance of the year. Pitched a 1-2-3 7th in last night's game. 23-year-old from Huntington Beach, California. Ramirez with a home run And a single. Pierzynski at second. And on at first base is Juan Pierre. There's a call strike, and it's 1-1. White Sox trying to win it here, Mitch, in the bottom of the ninth.
Well, they're looking for the guy that got him started today to get him finished. And he took a breaking ball that almost hit him on first pitch. And Burnett came back with a fastball right down the middle.
The 1-1 line drive to center field. It'll drop in front of Revere. They're going to wave in the runner. Here comes the throw to the plate. Not in time. Pierzynski scores, and the White Sox win and break the losing streak. And they are mobbing Alexei Ramirez, who started it in the first with a home run and finishes it in the ninth with a game-winning RBI single, and the White Sox win it 4-3 and end the 9-game losing streak to the Minnesota Twins and win it 4-3. They snap a 4-game losing streak and go to 44-47. And a huge win, Mitch Williams, for the White Sox.
I mean, they got huge hits from Carlos Quentin to tie this game up. And then that hit right there from Alexei Ramirez. This is what the White Sox needed. Like I said before the game, anytime you've lost 9 straight to a team, it's no longer physical, it's mental.
And that's the Just for Men Keep Your Edge spotlight. Alexei Ramirez giving the White Sox the edge, and a big one at that. And you too can keep your edge with Just for Men mustache and beard. Pierzynski, who led off with a double, and it looked like the White Sox, unable to move him along, decided not to bunt. Beckham and team flied out. Pierre with a key walk, and then against Alex Burnett, Ramirez delivering again the game-winning single. And the White Sox beat the Twins 4-3 in a tight, exciting seesaw game. And we'll be back to Chicago in just a moment.